Hi there, welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we are on Entitled Parents. Our first post is an update from Electrical Plum. Update: my mom is mad that I decided to leave for college earlier than necessary. This most likely won't be the last update, but I wanted to tell you guys what happened and answer a few things I was messaged and things I saw. First, I wanted to thank everyone for the nice comments. Honestly, after the year I had, I definitely needed to hear the things to confirm I wasn't crazy. I also wanted to thank you guys for pointing out the abuse I was going through. I guess I had convinced myself that the things happening weren't severe enough to be considered abuse. The things you guys said made me really think of everything that has happened in my childhood, and she was truly an abusive woman. One memory I can think of off the top of my head is when I was 5 and my brother was 10, was her keeping a suitcase packed, and whenever me and my brother upset her, she'd leave for hours on end saying she was tired of us and leaving us. In all honesty, before this post, I just considered that a punishment. I also wanted to address a few comments and messages I saw. A few people spoke about me not fighting back, but imagine having a 300+ pound woman on your back. I was terrified if I'd moved, she most likely break me in half. Even if I did fight back, I'm 100% she'd body me in 5 seconds with superhuman strength. I also got comments about the doctor and why he didn't alert CPS. I am pretty sure he thought it was likely I had an eating disorder than being starved. The doctor I was attending was a family doctor, so he's been in the family for a while. My weight wasn't drastically underweight that it was dangerous, it was more so I dropped from 140 to 100 pounds in a short amount of time that he was concerned. Also saw a comment on TikTok about me being spineless for not pressing charges. You go get your ass beat by somebody twice your size and see if you want to see them again. I seen some comments about financial aid and other things, but I don't need anything like that. My grandfather has his own business and my grandma works for him, so they have more than enough money. My dad is also an accountant, so he also has enough money. Anyways, for a sort of update, I read all your comments and took all your advice, so I told my grandparents exactly what happened while we were on a FaceTime call with my dad. He lives in the state of my college. My grandfather immediately told me we were going to press charges, and my dad also advised me to get checked out by a doctor for any head injuries. So we made a report with the police and we are waiting to hear back from them, I guess. I don't know, I'm not that good with legal stuff. We also went to the doctor and they said everything seemed to be fine, but they did tell my grandparents to monitor me, and if anything happens to come back immediately, so I guess time will tell with that. I am no contact with my mom, and I've officially gone no contact with my brother, which really sucks because me and my brother was very close for such a long time until a year ago when his new girlfriend moved in. In all honesty, I saw him as my hero, and it really hurts to see people change in an instant. Maybe I'm still in the aftershock of the situation, but I have real emotions for what has been happening. I'm not really sad about anything, but I'm also a little glad this did happen because it truly showed me all those who cared for me. Also, once my dad heard about the computer, he sent me money to get a new one. Really happy about that. But I also want my mom to cough up the money for the other one. Maybe I'll go on a little shopping spree with it as reparations for giving me an ugly knot on my head. Also, now that I think more about it, my brother and mom are really freaking fat for us to not have enough money for food. Seems like I wasn't the only one holding out. Thanks for all the advice and for everyone giving me tough love and making me open my eyes to the abuse. I really appreciate all you guys, and I hope all goes well in your life. You guys truly are good people. Next up, posted by Wisdom of Pearl. Father passed away last week. Younger sister and her ex asked about getting their son's college fund before we had the funeral. My father passed away last week following an accident. He had set up a college education fund for each of his grandchildren. I have an older sister and a younger sister. The younger sister has an addiction problem that she refuses to get help for, even though she has had many generous offers to pay for rehab and pay her ongoing expenses while in rehab. More than 5 years ago, her son no longer wanted to live with her because of her addictions, so her ex got custody. She has not visited her son since then, even though she has visitation rights. Because of this and several other times where she refused to take responsibility for her actions, just about the entire family went no contact with her 5 years ago. Only one cousin was still in contact with her, but she cut contact in early 2022. Our aunt, Dad's sister, felt younger sister should know about Dad's passing, so she did contact her with the news and information about the funeral service. Younger sister only wanted to know about what will happen with her son's college education fund and would she have access to the fund. Her son still has another year of high school left. My older sister did contact younger sister's ex because she felt our nephew had the right to know about his grandfather passing and have the opportunity to attend the funeral service. The ex said he would bring our nephew to the funeral, but then he wanted to know about the college education fund and if he would be getting access to it. I am the person in charge of all of the remaining education funds, and I can't even access them yet. But the trust is set up so that I am only able to make distributions to the college, university, or vocational school. The grandchildren must first be enrolled in the school, and then the funds go directly into an account at the school to cover tuition, fees, and books, and possibly housing if they live on campus. After this was explained to my younger sister and to her ex, the conversations quickly ended. Neither my younger sister nor her son attended Dad's funeral service. Also, the ex told older sister that our nephew will be on academic probation when he starts his last year of high school. Good thing the educational funds are also able to pay for vocational school training. Next up, posted by Tanning Tanner. My horrible mother-in-law is homeless and my wife and I don't care. I'm a 25M and married to a 26F named Carol, and her mother, Danielle, who is 61, is a complete bag of garbage, and that's the nicest thing to say. During Carol's childhood, Danielle would always belittle Carol and manipulate her into the most BS stuff, mostly always claiming that her father abandoned them in Colorado to seek fame and fortune in California and refusing to pay child support, whereas she would actually spend said child support on her own self, buying books and clothes and not supporting her daughter. Danielle also changed Carol's last name on Social Security to Danielle's last name when she was a little kid, which made it incredibly difficult for Carol to find a job as an adult because she was an illegal alien to the U.S. government. That meant she had one last name on her birth certificate and a different last name on her Social Security card. Danielle also had a very crap job that didn't pay the best and had to get an apartment with Carol under Carol's name because Danielle had bad credit, and Carol had a 0 credit score because she was 18 at the time and didn't have her own bills to pay. Danielle kept getting on Carol's case about not having a job, but Carol said she couldn't because of the name issue. They ended up getting evicted due to failure to pay rent because Danielle's job wasn't enough to pay for a luxury apartment and had to move in with Grandma. Danielle later lost her job during COVID and has been unemployed ever since. There's way too many scenarios about how Danielle would take advantage of her own daughter, but I don't want to bore y'all with the details. Anyway, onto the story. Back in late 2021, while me and Carol were engaged, she wanted to join the U.S. Navy. She got her name changed to her father's last name on Social Security to match her birth certificate, and even gave her recruiter child custody papers to prove her name. She enlisted, got through basic, completed her schooling, and got her orders to serve on a ship. We got married in September 2022 before she was shipped to Virginia for her new orders, while Carol was serving, and I spent time packing my belongings to move out to Virginia myself. I learned that Danielle was going to therapy to possibly move on, or so I imagined. I tried so damn hard to stay away from her during that time, but she was always bugging me, wondering why Carol wasn't talking to her during the day. I let her know on repeated occasions that she has no cell service on her ship, but to her, it was just one of those in one ear and right out the other thing. I eventually made it to Virginia in December 2022 to be with Carol. We have been ignoring all of Danielle's calls for a while. Fast forward to April. Carol gets a text from Danielle asking her to call her to talk. They talk on the phone for a while, and Carol learns that her grandma is not doing well. I also get my brother's high school graduation invitation in the mail, and I want to see him graduate in May, which means Carol wants to see her grandma because she fears that she may not make it to the end of 2023. Danielle seemed to be super nice, and Carol and I both thought she changed because of all the therapy she had been getting. So last week, we fly back to Colorado, and Danielle loans us her car while we're there and was being way too nice to us like a decent human. We see my brother walk across the stage, and Carol gets to see her grandma. While there, we learn that Grandma wants to move into a more safer place with Carol's aunt because of her health, and Danielle has to move somewhere else because, in her eyes, everyone doesn't want to take me in because the family doesn't like me. We told her that if we weren't living in a 650 square foot one-bedroom apartment on the other side of the country, then we could help her. Again, she starts being even nicer to us while still in Colorado. I even warned Carol that her being nice could mean something bad in the future, given her past behavior. Carol agreed. A few days after we flew back to Virginia, which was 5 days ago, Carol gets a text from Danielle saying that she's gonna have to live in her car because nobody will help her in. Carol asked her why she can't get a job and get her own apartment, and she said that, "I can't get a job at my age, and it's been too long, and it's very expensive to live on your own, especially in Colorado." Carol told her that we unfortunately can't help her because 1, we live in a small apartment, and 2, we live 7 states away on the other side of the country. So now here we are today. I'm at work and I get a call from Carol saying that she needs to be with me. I ask if everything's okay because I can tell she's not. She said she would talk about it when she got there. 30 minutes later, she shows up and I go on my lunch break with her. She tells me that her mom literally asked for $1,000 to help her move from Colorado to Virginia so she could be with us. $1,000. We told her multiple times we couldn't help her because we don't have that kind of room. We let alone don't have $1,000 to just give away because we live paycheck to paycheck. I was so flabbergasted, and Carol told me that her being super nice in recent times was way too good to be true, which is what I felt would happen. She either didn't get the therapy she needed, or she lied. I don't know what the case was about that because there's no proof. I wasn't around for this part, but Carol and Danielle argued over the phone, more like cussing each other out per se. Danielle was upset with Carol for not providing a home for her when she did it for her first 20 years of life, and now Carol can't return the favor. Carol then told her mother, "Just F off already," before hanging up and blocking her completely. Danielle is now homeless and living in her Nissan Sentra, but we couldn't care less. All those years Carol had to endure due to Danielle's entitled and narcissistic behavior is now biting her in the ass, and nobody wants to live with her because of this, because that bee only cares about herself and knows what she's doing is wrong and doesn't give a shit. I personally and honestly don't care if she dies. I will piss on her grave when she dies. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.